Tonight, searching for solutions.
And yet again, here we are, being reactive, not proactive.
What First Nations communities say should be done to break the vicious cycle of wildfire crisis. Also tonight, groundwater woes.
So how would that meet purity standards? Like, that just blows my mind.
Why the city is denying responsibility and compensation after one Winnipeg family's clothes were ruined. Plus, let the fogging begin. Where crews in southern Manitoba are going to battle mosquito populations after tests reveal high levels of West Nile virus.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. It's official tonight. This is the worst wildfire year on record in Manitoba. 1.5 million hectares have burned so far, forcing more than 30,000 people out of their homes, many of them from Northern First Nations. And tonight, those leaders are speaking out, saying the federal firefighting funds are missing the mark. CTV's Harrison Shin explains.
And yet here we are again, having to say the same message.
The chiefs of the Island Lake First Nations are demanding solutions.
This is not an emergency system. This is a cycle of failure. Our chiefs and Ancient Nations are saying to Canada, the cycle ends now.
Grand Chief McDougall says the chronic lack of comprehensive fire plans is a recipe for disaster.
The coroner reported that First Nations children under 10 are 86 times more likely to die in a fire than other children.
The leadership of 4 First Nations said 5 things need to be done, all within one core principle: fire prevention.
We don't need to fund more evacuations. We need to fund on staying home.
They drew on a 2022 Auditor General of Canada report to make the case.
$646 million in response and $182 million on prevention. That's unacceptable. It should be the other way around.
CTV News reached out to the Canadian Red Cross for a response. In an email communication, the Red Cross says, "We are working around the clock to secure available and appropriate hotel space for priority populations as directed by community leadership. This is a fast-moving and evolving response, and the Red Cross is working with community leadership, the Government of Manitoba, and Indigenous Services Canada to provide support to people impacted as requested and directed by the community. But for the Northern Nations affected, their future is at stake."
We can't live like this for another 60, maybe 50 years.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Indigenous Services Canada sent CTV News a lengthy response, saying in part the department will continue to work with First Nations to build back better and prepare for possible future wildfires, such as funding infrastructure to be more resilient to fire and flood damage. And while the recent rainfall may have helped suppress the fires somewhat, smoke is likely to remain an issue for most of the province right throughout the weekend. Take a look at this. Firesmoke.ca is forecasting a brief reprieve for us here in the south tomorrow morning, but it won't last more than a few hours. Otherwise, as you can see, most of the province is going to be blanketed in heavy smoke, particularly throughout the Interlake and Northwest regions. 2025 is now the second worst on record in Canada for wildfires. The latest figures posted by the Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre suggest fires have torn through 72,000 square kilometers, an area roughly the size of New Brunswick. It surpasses the next worst season, which was in 1989, and is about half the area burned during the record-setting 2023 season, according to a federal database of wildfire seasons dating back to 1972. Manitoba and Saskatchewan account for more than half of the area burned so far, but British Columbia, Alberta, and Ontario are all also well above their 25-year averages. We'll talk about a nasty surprise. While doing laundry in the south end of the city, one Winnipegger found her family's clothes covered in brown sludge. Standing by live to explain what happened is CTV's Danton Unger. Danton, does this woman know what happened?
Not exactly, Marilee. She thinks some city sewer line cleaning may be behind it, But the city says there is no work being done in her area and denies any responsibility, leaving this woman with unanswered questions and hundreds of dollars in damages. When Lisa McLeod put a load in the laundry of her Norman Park home in South Winnipeg on June 19th, she was shocked to see what came out.
I started pulling out articles of clothing and they were just covered in what looked like sludge.
Take a look for yourself. The entire load of laundry stained a dark brown.
I was just kind of standing there like tearing because I was looking at an entire load of white laundry that was completely destroyed.
Now, she's not sure what caused the brown water, but when she called 311, she heard a pre-recorded message while on hold.
It said, "We're cleaning the lines in the south end," which was the first time I had heard about it.
McLeod says she made a claim for $430, seeking to cover the cost of the ruined clothes. But the claim was denied, with the city telling her in a letter there was no evidence of negligence on its part. The letter goes on to say the city is not liable for damages caused by the quality or content of water it supplies unless it does not meet the accepted standards of purity established by provincial regulations respecting health.
Now, I don't have a sample of the water because I didn't keep one, but there's no way anyone in the city would want to drink that, seeing what it was. So how would that meet purity standards? Like, that just blows my mind.
The city tells CTV News it can't provide comment on specific claims. It did say crews were not doing any work in the area that day, and the city did not receive any other claims or reports of discolored water. In an email, a city spokesperson says, generally speaking, unless there's evidence of negligence on the city's part, the claim will be denied. McLeod says she's expecting to pay out of pocket for the damage and wants to warn other Winnipeggers to keep an eye on the wash next time they pop in a load of whites.
I just want to get the word out because it's just like, it's principle, really. Like, that shouldn't happen.
Now, McLeod could appeal the city's decision, but she says that would cost her another $124. And at this point, she says this whole ordeal has cost her enough.
All right. Thanks for this, Stanton. An update now to a story we first brought you yesterday. The Manitoba Nurses Union says its members have voted in favor of grey-listing Health Sciences Centre. The MNU says members voted 94% in favor of applying the designation to Winnipeg's biggest hospital. The move is largely symbolic and essentially means nurses have declared HSC is an unsafe working environment. The vote comes after a series of sexual assaults in July targeting HSC staff and members of the public. In a release late this afternoon, MNU says the designation will stay in place until Shared Health and HSC follow through on a list of recommendations. Shared Health's interim president says it takes the vote seriously and says Shared Health is working with stakeholders to increase security at HSC, including improvements to parkade security, reducing the number of public entrances, and adding 100 new security cameras. It adds Shared Health continues to explore other security measures. The City of Winnipeg has a warning about a scam. It involves text messages saying you have an unpaid parking ticket. The messages look something like this. The text messages impersonate the Winnipeg Parking Authority and ask you to pay your outstanding fines by opening a link. Here's what to watch out for. The messages are sent from a phone number with the area code 63. That's an area code from the Philippines. The city says the Winnipeg Parking Authority does not send out text messages, but its collection agency does. These texts always direct the recipient to call Winnipeg 311 to validate. If you do get a text about unpaid parking tickets and you're unsure about it, call 311. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. And it turns out some of those funnel clouds viewers sent us photos and video of this week were in fact tornadoes.
They sure were. Let's take a look at this. 3 confirmed tornadoes over the course of the week. You'll remember earlier this week, back on Tuesday, there was a likely tornado, according to Environment Canada, out in the Bellevue area. Well, the Northern Tornadoes Project, an outfit out of the Western University, they study tornadoes, or they go investigate after possible tornadoes happen across the country. They came out to Manitoba and Grande Clairiere, very close to that Bellevue area. They did an investigation and they've determined that there was in fact a tornado that touched down. Now, the enhanced Fujita scale is based on damage. So no injuries, no damage there, thankfully. So it received an EF0 default. Now, much closer to Winnipeg, anyone in the area remembers Wednesday night, 2 tornadoes, one in Birds Hill Provincial Park, again given an EF0 rating, no injuries. That is very good. 115-kilometer-an-hour wind gust, though, my goodness, the maximum speed of that tornado, rather. Tree damage, about a 4.1-kilometer-long stretch and a zone that was about 270 meters wide. Dugald, we showed you that incredible video of that funnel cloud. Well, it was a tornado that touched down, also receiving an E of 0 rating. No injuries. Maximum wind speeds with this tornado also reached about 115 kilometers an hour. Crop and tree damage done along a span of about 4.24 kilometers and along an area that was about 70 millimeters wide. And here's what that tornado looked like, or the damage left behind. Look closely. You see that line right through the center of that photo. That is the line of damage done across those crops by that tornado that ripped through that area. So again, thankfully, that was about it for the damage and no injuries done. But what a wild week for weather, with 3 confirmed tornadoes by the Northern Tornadoes Project, and also Environment Canada is confirming those 3 tornadoes as well. Tonight, there is some active weather in the southwest. That area is under a severe thunderstorm watch. More on that and your weekend forecast coming up. But let's take a look right now through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. And with that smoke continuing to blanket Winnipeg, it is 24 degrees, light winds out of the west-northwest. The pressure's rising and the humidity right now is 77%.
Thanks, Colleen. A University of Manitoba professor has been charged in connection to a historic sexual assault investigation. 55-year-old Oleg Pokanovsky was arrested after turning himself in last week. He's charged with sexual assault and sexual exploitation and remains in custody. Police accuse Pokanovsky of grooming a 15-year-old student he was giving private music lessons to between 2007 and 2010. The alleged sexual assaults happened off campus. The university placed him on leave and is cooperating with the investigation. A lawyer for Pokanovsky declined to comment. None of the allegations have been proven in court. The Winnipeg Police Service is investigating the death of a 26-year-old Winnipeg man in the North End as a homicide. According to police, officers responded to reports of an unresponsive man Tuesday evening in the 600 block of Boyd Avenue. When they arrived, officers found a man suffering from severe trauma. He was taken to hospital in critical condition, where he died from his injuries. He's been identified as Braden Henry Kadu-Kwiatkowski. Anyone with information or video surveillance is asked to call Winnipeg Police. Speaking of Winnipeg Police, they're hoping you can help identify a vehicle that was involved in a fatal hit and run that happened 1 year ago today. Investigators believe a 26-year-old man fell while crossing Queen Elizabeth Way at Mayfair Avenue and was then run over by a southbound vehicle. It happened around 3:30 a.m. on this day in 2024. Police are now looking for this vehicle and its driver. It's believed to be a dark-colored, early 2000s Buick LeSabre. Anyone with information is asked to contact Winnipeg Police or Crime Stoppers anonymously. The province is sending mosquito fogging trucks to the city of Winkler. It's in response to a high number of Culex tarsalis mosquitoes infected with West Nile virus. The fogging is expected to get underway this Friday in the city of Winkler and a roughly 3-kilometer zone around the city. It will continue overnight all the way through to Tuesday, August 12th, weather permitting. The province says the recent warm and humid conditions were ideal for mosquitoes, which spread West Nile virus, and the threat of human exposure to it is high in the region. However, so far, no locally acquired human cases of West Nile virus have been confirmed in Manitoba. An early morning fire did some serious damage to a bungalow in the Weston area. It happened in the 300 block of McKelvey Street around 5:30 this morning. Fire crews battled heavy smoke and flames. 3 people got out of the house before fire crews arrived. They were taken to hospital in stable condition. The house sustained fire, smoke, and water damage. Investigators are looking for a cause. It boasts one of the oldest surviving languages on Earth, and you can learn all about it down at the Tamil Pavilion during Folklorama, which is where we find CTV's John Hendricks tonight. So, John, what are you getting into tonight?
Well, Marilee, this is a pretty incredible pavilion, I have to tell you. The Tamil culture is old. It's ancient, in fact, and they have a lot here in this cultural display room to take a look at. Now, look at this. This is called a veena. It is an instrument that is potentially thousands of years old. Now, at the moment, there is no one here that is able to play this instrument. I was trying to strum it a little bit, but not anything close to what it should sound like. But luckily, this pavilion is embracing new technology in an amazing way. They have a QR code right here that when you scan, you can hear instrument being played. Is pretty amazing. Now, one of the other things that's pretty amazing about this pavilion is another use of VR technology, and I'm joined now by Ranjan, who can tell me a little bit about it. Now, if I wanted to go and experience, say, a temple, it's obviously a lengthy trip. You have to go on a plane, or
2 days to get to India.
2 days to get there, or you could get there instantly using the technology.
Winnipeg itself.
Explain
So
to me.
basically what we have a QR code of the temple in VR. So we ask the guests to use their own phone to scan like that. And we have a VR goggles here. And we're going to let you experience the temple in VR. So basically we put it like that and give it to, and he's going to respond.
Oh, wow. It's pretty cool. Like when you look around, like you can look up, you can see pretty much the whole temple. Yeah. And wow, it's very realistic.
And you walk through, and then you see an arrow. You don't have to walk through, but you bring the crosshair to the arrow, you go to the next room.
Do you ever have any people who walk into a wall or anything like that?
Well, that's why we have the crosshair to walk into the next room.
It's extra excitement when you come to this pavilion. You may get to see technology. You may get to see the inside of a wall.
Inside of a whole temple, either 1,500 years old, 1,000 years old, or 500 years old.
How does it make you feel to be able to show off your cultural artifacts in this way?
It's fantastic because I think people come repeatedly. They want to come after the show, spend more time. There's too much to see within 45 minutes.
I'll bet. And again,
we have repeat visitors coming again and again because they haven't been able to see it in the time that they had.
It's sort of a way to have fun at the same time, right?
It was really happy to share what we have.
It's one of the cool things about Folklorama is really learning about the different pavilions and the different cultures, and this is a way to do it in a brand new way. Yeah. And so thank you so much for your time. Yeah. We're going to send it back to you. I think I'm going to go back on that VR and try, though, to avoid walking into a wall.
Be careful. Thanks, John. Still to come tonight, a renewed effort to recruit and retain more members for Canada's military.
Their pay, your pay, should reflect the weight of your responsibilities.
The Prime Minister announces new financial incentives. Details on the salaries and bonuses being offered coming up. It looks like July was a relatively good month for renters across the country. The national average asking rent was down 3.6% last month compared to a year earlier. It put the price at just over $2,100 and marked the 10th straight month of year-over-year decreases. The figures come from the latest monthly report from Rentals.ca and Urban Nation. It shows rents in Manitoba dipped 0.9% to an average of $1,617. Turning to the markets now, crude oil is unchanged at just over $63 a barrel. The dollar also ended fairly flat at 72.72 cents U.S. Gold added $37. The TSX down 2 points. The Dow Jones gained 206 points, while the Nasdaq was up 207 points. The job market is tough for a growing number of Canadians this summer, especially young people. 41,000 jobs were lost in July, driven largely by people in their late teens and early 20s. But the overall unemployment rate remains stable. CTV's Abigail Bimman has the latest snapshot of the Canadian economy.
Noah Kelly has been applying everywhere with no luck, and the timing is urgent.
I'm getting evicted because I lost my job, my last job, and now I can't make my rent.
The unemployment rate for those 15 to 24 hit 14.6 in July. That's the highest since 2010, excluding 2 COVID years.
It's been incredibly difficult to find a job, especially as a person who doesn't have experience previously.
Overall, there were 41,000 job losses in July compared to 83,000 gains in June. Hardest hit, full-time workers, down 51,000. The Prime Minister pointed to wage growth as a good sign.
That, combined with the tax cut that we put in place, combined with the removal of the consumer carbon tax and other measures, progress on cost of living. Just to be clear, progress. We're not satisfied that that's enough. There's much more that needs to be done.
But these government workers involved in student hiring say Mark Carney's looming savings targets are already making a difference in their departments.
Hiring this summer has been difficult. You have to look at every specific detail and make sure that this student can be funded.
Less departments are interested because they have less money, they have to cut spending.
Perhaps surprisingly, with the trade war, manufacturing jobs didn't see a big hit, with RBC economists saying CUSMA has softened the blow.
Things are definitely softer. This is not an ideal environment by any sense, but perhaps it's just not as severe of a shock as, what was feared earlier in the spring.
RBC cautiously optimistic that unemployment rate will peak soon, around 7%, and also predicting no further interest rate cuts from the Bank of Canada. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
The unemployment rate here in Manitoba last month was below the national average at 5.5%. That's unchanged from a month earlier. Our province had the second lowest rate in the country, behind Saskatchewan and tied with Quebec. Air Canada's flight attendants are holding what they're calling a National Day of Action Monday. Meanwhile, their union resumed talks with the airline today. The union has a strike mandate, and the flight attendants can walk off the job as soon as August 16th. The airline says it's not considering flight cancellations or postponements yet, saying it hopes to reach a settlement first. The federal government is spending $2 billion to give soldiers a pay raise in order to keep them in the military and recruit new members. The Prime Minister made the announcement at Canadian Forces Base Trenton today, the country's largest Air Force base. And as CTV's Judy Trin tells us, Canada is short thousands of troops.
All members of the Canadian Armed Forces will receive a pay raise.
In front of a wall of soldiers at the country's largest Air Force base, the Prime Minister said it was time to recognize the worth of the Canadian Armed Forces.
These are the men and women we trust to wear the maple leaf, the Canadian flag, and to risk their lives for it. Their pay, your pay, should reflect the weight of your responsibilities.
The government will spend $2 billion to increase the salaries for the rank and file. Non-commissioned officers will see raises of between 8 and 20%. An entry-level soldier will now get an additional $700 a month and earn more than $52,000 a year. After he met with soldiers at CFB Trenton, the Prime Minister said better compensation was needed to recruit and retain soldiers to meet current global challenges, not just Russia and China, but also climate change.
The Arctic's melting. Our wildfires and floods are more frequent and devastating. And these are all threats to which the Canadian Armed Forces responds.
For the first time, soldiers will get daily bonus pay when they are deployed on domestic missions to help Canadians during natural disasters. Bonuses will also be given to officers who are deployed to serve in the Arctic and who are deployed overseas. Retention bonuses will also be offered for soldiers who take on additional training. The country's top soldier says this should allow Canada to make up a shortfall of more than 12,700 soldiers before 2030.
We have increased the target for recruits this year. We're at 7,600, which is about 1,000 more than last year. And this is how we are going to gain back to full strength.
Defense officials say this is the biggest pay raise for soldiers since 1998. It also contributes to Canada's commitment to making its 2% NATO target by the end of this fiscal year. Judy Trin, Canadian Forces Base, Trenton.
In the Middle East, Israel's security cabinet has approved a plan to expand military operations in the Gaza Strip and take control of Gaza City. Israel says it's an effort to end the war with Hamas, but there is international opposition to the decision. The UK says seizing Gaza City is wrong and has asked the Israelis to reconsider. Australia urged Israel to, quote, not go down this path. And the European Union is also asking Israelis to reconsider, saying the decision will likely have consequences for EU-Israel relations. International powers have intensified criticism of the war amid reports of famine in Gaza. The Manitoba Museum might have one of the largest collections of Hudson Bay artifacts, but it looks like the defunct retailer's crown jewel is going elsewhere. There will soon be a new home for the 355-year-old charter, which gave Hudson's Bay extraordinary control over vast swaths of unceded lands. It will wind up at the Canadian Museum of History if the courts approve a plan to let the Weston family buy it and donate it. There were concerns among historians and Indigenous communities the charter would wind up in a private collection or even taken out of the country. The Manitoba Museum CEO says it hoped it would end up at its institution, but is glad it's going to museum.
We're dancing up a storm here at the Tamil Pavilion. I'm John Hendricks. I'll take you behind the scenes coming up on CTV News.
And temperatures in the low 20s for a few days to start off the long-range forecast. Sunday, 22 degrees, a mix of sun and cloud. Showers are possible on Monday, otherwise a mix of sun and cloud there too, up to 23. And yeah, these similar sky conditions will persist, a mix of sun and cloud right through to Thursday, each day getting a little bit warmer than the one before it. 23 Tuesday, 25 Wednesday, a forecast high of 27 degrees by Thursday.
We're nearing the end of week one of this year's Folklorama Festival, but there is still plenty of time to check out the first round of pavilions, such as the Tamil Pavilion, which is where CTV's John Hendricks is tonight. I take it you didn't bump into any walls too severely on the VR.
No, I did, Marilee, but luckily I'm coming out of the haze. In fact, I might be still a little loopy, which is why I thought it might be fun to try to do some dancing here at the pavilion. If it goes horribly wrong, we'll just blame it on the obvious head trauma. So maybe first I'll get you guys just to show me exactly what you do, and then I'll see if I can join you. So we'll start the music, and we'll watch them as they do the dance, and I'll try to learn and see if I can mimic the movements. So far, I think I can do that. I'm pretty able to do that. And, no, as I see them doing this, Marilee, I'm going to go ahead and cry uncle and say there's no way that I would be able to do these movements, but instead I'll speak with someone who can tell me how they do these movements. Thanks so much for joining us. Maybe you could just tell me a little bit about what this dance is. It looks very intricate.
Yeah, so this dance basically called as Amman dance. So what we do, like, this is the August month in English calendar, but in Tamil calendar it's Adi month. So Adi month in Tamil areas, what we will do is, like, we will gather around boys and girls. We will dance around for Amman by holding the neem leaf and like some different other props. So we'll be dancing in the street and praying. This is the way of praying the God, like saying that, hey, like, we worship you and all.
Now, I see that they're holding like a leaf, right? Yeah. This is something from the Tamil area?
Yeah. So, like, this is like common neem tree. It's all around the world, like, but like it's very famous in India. Like, this has like a lot of medicinal value. So whenever we get like some kind of stomach flu and all, our mother, like, and our grandmother, like, will grind it and give it to us as a medicine. So that's why we pray this as a god too, because of it's acting as a medicine to us too.
It is a medicine. It is something that they use to do this dance. And as you can see, it's not something for the new. It's not something that you've never done it before that you can immediately just jump in and do. But I'll tell you what, it is amazing to watch. And that is exactly what I'm going to do right now. I'm just going to continue to watch this amazing performance, and I'm going to send it back to you, Marilee.
It is fun to watch. All right, John, you stay safe down there.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady back now with your complete Skywatch forecast, and we received a good bit of rain this morning and overnight.
Yeah, a much needed soaking across a good swath of southern Manitoba. Here's a look at just some of the rainfall totals from this morning's rainfall. Both Environment Canada stations in Winnipeg topping the list there. 22.9 millimeters fell at the airport. Considerably less by comparison out at the airport, but still we'll take 13.2 millimeters there. But that's nothing compared to Starbuck, not far from Winnipeg, of course. Nearly 36 millimeters fell there. Woodlands almost 27, down in Morris almost 26, and you can see Bagot, Steinbach, Portage La Prairie, and Selkirk also received a good and much needed soaking of rainfall. Well, there's more where that came from if you are in the southwest tonight. A line of thunderstorms at this point non-severe, moving across the region right now, moving right through places like Hartney and Verdon, places like Birtle. You're on deck. Those storms headed your way, and that whole region, the southwest, under a severe thunderstorm watch. That means those thunderstorms that are developing and are firing off right now have the capability of becoming severe. Tonight, if that happens, you could see hail the size of toonies in those areas, wind gusts up to 90 kilometers an hour, and rainfall amounts in excess of 50 millimeters. Meanwhile, the air quality warnings continue for much of Manitoba, including areas as far south as Winnipeg and Brandon, and north up into northern Manitoba. East into northwestern Ontario, these areas under a special air quality alert, so not quite as elevated as an outright warning, but still smoky in those areas too. As we mentioned earlier, we might get a brief break in the Winnipeg area tomorrow for a few hours. The problem is that smoke is going to head back up north, where they already are contending with even more than we are here in the south, and it's been pretty poor, the air quality over the last couple of days for sure. Meanwhile, the rain continues to fall in the southwest as we move through the evening hours. Late tonight, there is the possibility we could see some of those showers, maybe even a thunderstorm develop here in Winnipeg and the Red River Valley. Overnight, you see this system starts to push a little further to the north, but a substantial amount of rain is expected to fall over parts of the southwest, but really more into west central areas overnight and into Saturday, and that rain will continue to spread across the north. It is much needed. We've got that band of rain across the Interlake tomorrow morning, and it will continue its northward advance into northern Manitoba. Meanwhile, it circulates back around that tail end of that system, wraps back into Winnipeg in the southeast by late tomorrow afternoon and into a Saturday night for much of the southern half of the province, really the southern 2/3 of the province, and into northwestern Ontario. You'll see that move in there as well. And then as we get into Sunday late in the day, much of that rain moves further to the east, although some of it stays on the Manitoba side of the border, but it's starting to make its way further east into Ontario. 16 our low tonight with showers possible, maybe even a thunderstorm. Winds out of the southwest at 15 kilometers an hour. Sunshine to start the weekend on Saturday morning. 17 degrees, light winds out of the southwest. More of a mix of sun and cloud, or increasing cloudiness a little later on in the day with the possibility of those showers. The winds start to strengthen late in the afternoon. That will help to move some of that smoke. Up in the north tonight, clearing over Churchill all the way down to just 8 degrees. A little bit more cloud through Gillam and Island Lake, smoky there. 12 overnight for Thompson, 18 in Thompson tomorrow with the possibility of some showers. Rain tonight, a sizable amount tonight and tomorrow for the Paw at Norway House as well. And then tomorrow that rain will spread into Flin Flon as it continues in those other areas. But there's also the risk of thunderstorms too. In the southwest tonight, there's a good chance of showers or thunderstorms. We're already seeing that first line going through now. 12 overnight for Brandon, 14 for Dauphin, and then a good chance of more showers, maybe thunderstorms tomorrow. You saw a little cooler there, Brandon, a high of just 19 for Saturday. Winnipeg in the southeast, again, not a sure shot, but a good possibility of showers later tonight with the risk of thunderstorms. Overnight lows between 15 and 16 degrees, and then tomorrow we'll get some sunshine in the morning in some areas like Winnipeg. More cloud into the afternoon again with that likelihood of showers returning. It looks like they should miss you in Sprague though. And in northwestern Ontario tonight, like a broken record, a good chance of showers there. Warm overnight lows, 19, 20 degrees. And then showers will end around the region in the morning. Then you'll get some sun in the afternoon before you heat up into the mid to upper 20s. Look at that. Let's take a look at our weather photos. This gorgeous shot is from Remy of the sunrise over St. Andrews, close to Winnipeg, of course. And this next one, very interesting. This was Grand Beach. This is what it looked like there yesterday. All those beachgoers sitting under that smoke just over the lake. That photo is from Carolyn. Send us your weather photos to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. Pride is surging in an Interlake First Nation for a young man about to make his NHL debut. Peguis First Nation is holding a community celebration tomorrow for Carter Bear. Bear, who played in the Western Hockey League, was drafted 13th overall earlier this year by the Detroit Red Wings. Chief Stan Bird says the community is incredibly proud of his accomplishment and is expecting a big turnout to celebrate.
I mean, we haven't stopped telling people where he's from and you know, what our connections are to the community. And it's a real positive thing for our youth to see, to be a part of. It really is a part of history. So what other, 18-year-old Indigenous person is being drafted by the Detroit Red Wings? I mean, just walking into that's history itself, right?
Bear himself will be making an appearance at the Pegwist Multiplex around noon. Organizers are also offering up some free hot wings as a nod to him being drafted by the Red Wings. Assiniboine Park needs your help to name a new arrival. A male muskox has arrived at the Journey to Churchill area of the zoo. Assiniboine Park Zoo says he's already getting along with a 1-year-old female muskox, besides the odd headbutt when they're sharing food. The muskox is laying low for now, but will become part of the exhibit once it gets more comfortable with its new surroundings.
You know, he's a very curious boy, and he's around over 240 pounds, which is small, but you know, because muskox can be up to 900 pounds, so he's gonna be a big boy most likely.
The zoo wants you to vote for your favorite name, and here are your choices: Rumble, Shaggy, Muskoka, or Stoic. To vote, visit assiniboinepark.ca, and you have until Monday to cast your vote. It's almost time to send the kids back to school, but for some young students, that can be a little nerve-wracking.
Really helping to understand what your child is feeling.
What you can do to help ease the transition, and 5 signs of more serious anxiety issues. Medical Watch after this. Turning a passion project into a side hustle is an enticing idea in this current economy. In fact, a growing number of Canadians feeling the pinch are picking up a side hustle to get ahead. So much so, the University of Manitoba is now offering a course titled How to Start a Side Hustle. Deborah Jonathan-Young is the IH Asper Executive Director of Entrepreneurship at the U of N and joins me now to talk more about the program. Deborah, good to speak with you.
Hello, Marilee.
First, maybe just give us an idea what this side hustle course offers.
So the side hustle course is a 6-week virtual course. Students, also alumni and some staff, apply to take this course, and we choose from literally hundreds of people who are applying at this point in time. It's a 6-week course held virtually every Tuesday nights, and it's hosted by a partner from Tulane Learning. His name is Jeff Mitchell, and he takes all students through a process of idea generation, validation, marketing, financial, to the point where at the end of the 6 weeks, they have all the fundamentals necessary to start a business.
What is a side hustle? We hear this term, thrown around all the time. It sounds good, but what exactly is it?
So probably the difference between a side hustle and a regular entrepreneurial venture is really the point that a side hustle is meant to augment what you're already doing. So in some cases in the gig economy, people may have 2 or 3 other jobs, but they have a great idea that they think they can make some money on, so they start another small gig. In other cases, you have people who are, they're working full-time, and they have a great idea, and they say, gee, I want to investigate whether I can make this happen. And a few other cases, individuals are saying, I really need to augment my income, and therefore I want to start something. And of course, with technology and everything now, it's so much easier to start a variety of side hustles. Many of them are tech-based, applications, that type of thing. But we still have a lot of product-based side hustles also.
How profitable can these things be?
They can be profitable, but I think it's like anything else. If you start something and you don't understand the mechanics of a business, you can actually make some early mistakes that don't allow you to make profit on this. So, part of what we teach in the side hustle course is the concept of revenue generation and the costs in order to make a side hustle happen or any kind of business happen. And that, of course, equates to profit in the end. And you obviously want to make more revenue than the costs. And if you do that, you're going to make some money. In some cases, you can really, really make a nice income to the point where you may pivot and that becomes your main income source. In other cases, people are passionate about their idea and it's a little less about, profiting from it. They want to make something, but they really want to bring their great idea to market.
What kind of interest are you seeing in this course?
Huge interest, and the more we market it and the more we tell people about it and the more word of mouth we have, it's significant. So like I've indicated, we've had hundreds of applications. We run this program and we started it last September. We run the program about 3 times a year and have participation of 20 to 30 individuals each time.
All right. How to Start a Side Hustle is a free course, I understand, right, for U of M students, staff, and alumni?
It sure is.
You can apply for it now online. Deborah, I want to thank you so much for your time tonight. Great speaking with you.
Thanks so much.
Fewer women are getting pap smear tests to help detect cervical cancer. In a report released earlier this week, Statistics Canada found in 2024, 69% of women aged 25 to 69 had a pap smear test within the past 3 years. That's compared to 74% in 2017. It's a new year with new classes and teachers, and for some students, it can feel a little overwhelming.
Having a certain amount of nerves, you'll see with almost every kid, even the kids that are excited about going back to school.
Child adolescent psychiatrist Dr. Bueller Hashimi says sometimes it's more than just nerves. Some kids struggle with anxiety. She says the best way to help is to talk and be an active listener. Next, you should establish routines, regular sleep, meal, and homework schedules to ease anxiety. And finally, spot the signs of more significant anxiety or depression.
Really leaning into that intuition that you have about your child and knowing when it's time to seek help from a medical professional is important.
Signs it may be time to talk to a medical professional can include sleep changes, excessive self-doubt, a lack of interest in things they used to enjoy, becoming more withdrawn, or struggling connecting with others.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic. Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Holly Cole.
Get ready to say ciao. Now into its 53rd year, the Italian pavilion at Folklorama has been selling out shows all week long, but there's still 2 more nights to head down and check out a variety of Italian dance numbers, from modern and pop to something more traditional, and of course, enjoy all the pasta the country is known for. Organizers say family is at the center of the Italian identity, and they want you to feel it too.
I hope they all feel our warmth, our hospitality, the energy, and just feel part of the family. That's what Italians truly set out to do, is make everyone feel like they're at home.
The Italian Pavilion goes tonight and tomorrow at the Caboto Center on Wilkes Avenue. Well, it's another busy weekend in August. Here's a look at just some of the events taking place in Manitoba this weekend. Folklorama continues its trip around the world, saying goodbye Saturday to one group of pavilions and welcoming some new ones on Sunday. Rainbow Stage brings the beloved characters from Disney's Frozen to life. Winkler hosts its Harvest Festival. The Blueberry Jam Music Gathering is on in Flin Flon. Banana Days is on in Melita. Then there's the Winnipeg Tattoo Convention and Winnipeg Beer Festival. Can Iron, the Canadian Blacksmithing Convention, is on in Austin. Enjoy some music on Manitoba in Selkirk and catch a double feature of movies in the park with Inside Out 2 and Twilight. You can find a full list of events this weekend on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. We'll kick off your weekend first with some fun on Match Game at 7, followed by back-to-back episodes of Fear Thy Neighbor. Then wind down your night with E-Talk at 10:30. It's all happening right here on CTV.
Women's clothing provided by RW and Company. Salon services provided S. Antique Spa Salon.
25, the highest temperature today. No match for that record. On this day back in 1949, Winnipeg reached a sweltering 39.4 degrees. Showers, maybe even a thunderstorm possible overnight. We could get a break for a few hours on Saturday. If we're going to see showers, it will likely be in the afternoon. 23 is the high, mix of sun and clouds Sunday. 22, 23 again on Monday with the possibility of showers. And then we slowly ramp the heat back up next week, merrily peaking at 27 degrees on Thursday.
Well, week 1 of Folklorama is nearly in the books, but you still have time tonight and tomorrow to check out the first round of pavilions. So before we leave you tonight, we're going to take a look back at some of the excitement that happened across our city this week. Enjoy. Have a great night.
Just feel part of the family. That's what Italians truly set out to do, is make everyone feel like they're at home.
We try to be there and show up for our community and support multiculturalism in Manitoba.
It's a wonderful chance for Folklorama to learn about new cultures and get really understand what goes on in somebody's heritage.